thing the Nazis did to try to destabilize Britain during World War II. Same thing that you saw in the Civil War in America. Once one government starts to counterfeit money, you know that what the remaining paper money is completely and utterly worthless. Only keep money in paper money, Alex, that you're willing to lose.
And that's now bringing us to the runs on the bank spreading from Greece to Spain. I mean, it's all starting to unfold. What's the timetable, Max?
Well, you're right. They're going from out of the frying pan into the fire. So they go from Greece to Spain, then they want to go to Germany. They hope to go to the UK. But it's it's like an Agatha Christie novel where every chapter some new character in the book dies, gets murdered, and they're wondering, who's the number one killer of all this? Well, the number one killer of all this is the Federal Reserve Bank and Jamie Dimon and the Federal Reserve Bank in New York. You just skip to the end chapter. You don't need to read the whole book.
They're the epicenter.
There's Jamie Dimon. He's the bad guy. He's trying to hoodwink the world into accepting fake, phony, counterfeit money and his nonsensical stock. And that's where we need to go directly and protect oneself against that. And to do what we've been saying on your show for 3 or 4 years now, buy gold and silver.
Well said. I want to come back and look at the Zuckerberg situation, the new term Zuckered. For a long time. Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then we are, of course, back Sundays, 4 to 6 p.m. We have InfoWars Nightly News. Thank you so much for joining us. Max Kaiser at MaxKaiser.com is our guest. I'm asking everybody to help get the word out about our new social network, PlanetInfoWars.com, to organize people from across the political spectrum and beyond, to educate ourselves, get informed, and organize against tyranny. And I meant to launch this years ago, but it's beefy, it's a strong site, it's exploding. PlanetInfoWars.com, PlanetInfoWars.com, the merger of InfoWars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Now, going back to Max Kaiser, for me, this just, is the culture of MF Global and JP Morgan saying, you're dead if you don't give us that money, so they take it out of private accounts. Now you've got the head of Facebook calling his users dumb effers. It's all got CIA people involved founding it. Explain to people as a former top, now retired stockbroker, media person, investigative journalist, wearing all the hats. What happened there? I mean, I'm not a big stock guy. I mean, I don't own any, but I'm forced to study it constantly. I'm not in paper, put it to you that way. I mean, I invest here in my media operation to get the word out. That's what I care about, is hearts and minds and liberty for a future. I want to win the future. As Obama says, I don't want their tyrants to win the future. I'm fighting for the future as you are. But Max, they come out with this giant $100 billion deal. The analysts say it's not worth anywhere near that because it's an advertising thing. It's not like Google or Apple that actually have something. And I'm not saying they're good companies with suicide nets at their factories at Foxconn, for Apple. My point is there's something real there, even though Al Gore's on the board. With this, it doesn't look good. Comes out, they claim there's a glitch, so that's their excuse for it to go down. Now it's down massively. Go over the numbers for us on that. And now it's confirmed by the Associated Press and others that Zuckerberg says that, or Zuckered says, that he was selling day one. Now, Martha Stewart went to jail for nothing, and they went after, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks for nothing. Don't they have to go after him now, or is he too big to fail?
Well, it's a classic, what they call on Wall Street, pump and dump. If you do a little search on a firm on Wall Street called D.H. Blair, which was very active 20 years ago, bringing to market fake companies or companies overhyped. And as the day approaches when the company goes public, the insiders are selling out of their stock, and then the retail investors get dumped. What's remarkable about the Facebook pump and dump is that Barack Obama was hyping the stock just a few months ago. They had Zuckerberg at the White House. He went there asking to promote his candidacy on Facebook. So you have the President of the United States pumping and dumping an IPO, which is a new thing in the history of America. No president has ever pumped and dumped an IPO like Obama pumped and dumped Facebook. So the stock goes public at $100 billion a share, and the insiders had already sold out. There's a thing on the internet called Second Market, which allows insiders to sell out their stock on the way up. They sold out billions on the way up. And don't forget that when Goldman Sachs got involved, when the company was worth $50 billion, and they took a position, they violated SEC law by offering stock to more than what the SEC allows by law, number of clients to own the stock. But their response to that was to get the SEC to change the law. So once again, we see that Wall Street makes the laws. Wall Street administers the laws. Wall Street adjudicates the laws. And if you ever sue Wall Street, you go to an arbitration panel that's staffed by people from Wall Street. So it's a fantastic place to steal money. There's no inhibitors to stealing money. There's no laws that apply to anyone working there. Nobody ever goes to jail. If any of your listeners want to become a billionaire, a zillionaire, a millionaire, get your Series 7 broker license, get in, pick up a telephone, and you can break the law with impunity just like Zuckerberg and Barack Obama and the whole crew.
If you're part of one of the few big firms, if you're a smaller firm and go on TV and promote a stock you think's good, they claim that you're pumping and dumping and arrest you. Or if you sell a few $100,000 worth of some stock you own, if you're the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, they go after you because it's publicity. They know people know your name, Mark Cuban, and so it sounds like, or if you're Willie Nelson and they claim you're on your back taxes, they take his house away for nothing. But if you want to steal billions, it's okay. If you want to steal the police pension fund, it's great. And the cops will even beat the anti-Wall Street protesters in the head for fun because they don't know which end is up. I mean, it is absolutely insane. We're going to come back, long segment with Max Kaiser, get more into this. And we've got an article up at the Drudge Report. Aaron Dykes wrote this last night. It's big news. Mark of the Beast. Bilderberg pushes mandatory internet ID for all of Europe. This year's Bilderberg, I have to tell you, is full of top IT people. I happen to have moles inside Bilderberg. Believe me, they're hopping mad over this. Yeah, Aaron Dykes' big report that I worked on some of it last night. Mark of the Beast, Bilderberg pushes mandatory internet ID for Europe. They're announcing 30,000 drones here, total surveillance. Head of the CIA says, yeah, we're operating domestically, listening and watching everything you do. There's an attempt to intimidate people. See, the globalists think Americans and Europeans, for that matter, are like cowardly. No, people are so self-absorbed and lazy because we've had so much liberty that they're not paying attention. As they begin to have their resources turned off, as people begin to get awake, it's over, folks. That's the way it always is. As people start pushing folks around, it's over. You think we're scared of you? No, most people are busy trying to take care of their families. But as they realize how real all this is, people are getting out of their comfort zone, and the New World Order better look out. Here it is. While the International ACTA Treaty and United States CISPA legislation are setting the stage to clamp down on the World Wide Web, technocrats are working overtime to try to pin down your identity and make sure all your activities are thoroughly monitored and under control. It's about an internet tax, folks, is the real reason. The European Union is now moving to create a mandatory electronic ID system for all EU citizens that would be implemented across Europe to standardize businesses, both online and in person. And this is just hellish. This is for global tracking and taxes and to ban your ID, like they said in CISPA and other, before they cut it out, that 3 strikes, you're banned off the internet forever. That's like the TSA says you can't fly because they're God, no judge, no jury. Then there's a no-gun buy list. It's all about this arbitrary, you can't travel, you can't leave the country because the IRS says so. These are capital controls. Max, you've talked a lot about this. I mean, this looks like the Soviet Union or something. I mean, this stuff is off the chain. We're seeing, as you said, the acceleration of the gulag casino economy or casino gulag economy with the prostitutes running defense for the New World Order. I mean, how far is this going to go? How many minions of the system are going to slit their own children's throats economically, politically, to go along with a bunch of criminal bankers? Sure, the National Enquirer is feeding us steady images of John Travolta and cross-dressing. I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to be diverted with all these gay marriage distractions, regardless of what side you're on. They throw that in there to get us fighting with each other. The White House got caught running the Trayvon Martin thing with instigators from the Justice Department trying to get a race war going. They're shipping guns into Mexico to blame the Second Amendment. This government is criminal. They are the enemy, and we got to come together. Max Kaiser.
Yeah, I hear you, buddy. You know, on your show for a couple of years, we've been talking about people renouncing their U.S. citizenship because they don't agree with American politics. And we see it now with one of the co-founders of Facebook. He's in Switzerland. He's going to move to Singapore. He's in Singapore now, and he's saying, look, I want to renounce my U.S. citizenship. It's got nothing to do with taxes. I just don't want to be a part of the U.S. system. And last year, record number of people renounced their U.S. citizenship because they don't agree with the politics. They don't want to be a part of the U.S. system. And this trend is continuing, and we've talked about it, and I've said that, in my opinion, the smart thing to do is to renounce your U.S. citizenship. You said you think that it makes more sense to stay and fight, and I have a description of those who stay and fight. It's called police-assisted suicide. Because go ahead, stay and fight, but you're going to go down in a blaze of police bullets on your way out the door. Very noble, but you're not going to be breathing.
Oh, Max, look, you're always saying the U.S. is going to collapse, and I agree it is, but we're going to use that crisis that they create to wake people up and get our republic back. You jumped out of the fire into Hades. I mean, I remember arguing with you 2 years ago, and you're like, yeah, Europe's being raped by the same people, but, whatever. I mean, Europe is going to be just as bad or worse, man. I mean, I don't blame you wanting to live in Paris. It's beautiful and wonderful, but come on, man.
No, we live in Paris because it's the best place to do our show, but we are completely mobile. We go around the world, but we don't set up shop in any one location, and especially not in the U.S., because at some point you won't be able to leave the U.S. That wall between America and Mexico is to keep Americans in. You won't be able to leave. Your money won't be able to leave. So when they do turn the spigot off and they do devalue and you try to diversify out of the dollar and into precious metals, it's too late, man.
Oh, no, the TSA admits.
Gas at $10, $15, $20 a gallon, no job, nothing but food stamps, in the casino gulag, spinning the roulette wheel, hoping to make a nickel, to buy a cup of coffee to sustain yourself for the next 2 weeks.
And a bunch of paramilitary police running around. Doesn't sound fun.
So anyway, here's the big news. I don't know if you caught it or not, but I am officially advising Roseanne Barr as an economic advisor to her presidential candidacy.
Very exciting. We had her on last year, and of course, I gave the number to people, and it never got put in the computer. But I'm gonna get her back on the show. She's a very interesting lady, very funny, and so tell us about that. But I'm more interested in the fact.
I dropped out of my support of Ron Paul. I'm switching to Roseanne Barr. I think Roseanne Barr has a much more robust platform than Ron Paul. She's more electable than Ron Paul, and she's got me as an advisor. If Ron Paul had me as advisor, I would maybe support him. But
spoken like a true. But listen,
he's got other folks advising him, which they're doing a fairly decent job. But Roseanne Barr for 2012.
Very interesting. She'll certainly get some issues out there. What about you're going to be on a panel with Henry Kissinger?
Yep, coming up in June in St. Petersburg, Russia, the International Economic Forum. It's the Davos of the East. I'm going to be on a panel with Henry Kissinger talking about the Eurozone. I want to call you directly from St. Petersburg like we did in Athens, like we did in Cairo, like we did in Beirut, do a show with you directly from the Economic Forum in St. Petersburg, Russia in June. And we're going to get some on the panel with Kissinger and others. I'm the only guy who's ever been invited to one of these international forums that actually has a chip on their shoulder and is going in there, horns.
Well, my instinct is for you to not even talk about this, so you're going to get kicked off the panel, Max. I've always found it's better to sneak attack.
I'm raring to go. I'm in training. I'm actually doing a morning workout, and I'm building up my muscle and my physique. So if I get into a fisticuffs with an 85-year-old or a 95-year-old Henry Kissinger, I want to make sure I win, because otherwise it'd be very embarrassing for me to lose in a wrestling match with Henry Kissinger in St. Petersburg.
Be like an Andy Kaufman wrestling match.
Yeah, I don't want to lose. Andy Kaufman, he showed the way. But if any of these guys, it's going to be a whole same guys from Davos.
I think both of you should wear matching tutus and wrestle around, and John Travolta can be the referee. Let me just stop you for a minute there, because people do this before debates. Let's debate back and forth, because all he does is speak in that fake German accent. He has a brother that grew up in Germany till they were 10. He doesn't speak with it. It's totally fake. He talks real slow, like it's deliberative. It's a total act, like you're getting something really special.